Hi, Nick. Tim Reynolds with the AP down here.
Oh, I do.
A disappointing night in general, but just how disappointing was it to come out and just have them set the tone with that 9-0? I know it was just a couple of minutes, but it just seemed like when you start playing uphill against that team, that's not really a recipe for success, obviously.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think again, we you got your coverages and your things you're going to do at the beginning, and we just missed them early, right? We were just a step too slow on just about everything, and I thought we, I talked about before the game how important shot contesting was, and I just didn't think we settled in with some space and gave them confidence early, and you just can't do that. I mean, we didn't do either thing very well tonight. I mean, we didn't do much well tonight, obviously, the way the game went.
Nick, Dan Winkie, Los Angeles Times. Before game one, you had mentioned Ilyasova as a guy that can make sort of winning plays. How big of a thumbprint did he have on the game today?
Well, I thought he was very good, right? He stepped up and made a bunch of shots. He took a couple charges, but he wasn't the only one off the bench. I thought their bench guys came in and really, were when we kind of clawed back with bad start, we kind of got to like 14-9 right away, and then those guys came in and really took off. I think, 17, 13, 14. That's 44. Okay, off the bench, that's pretty good, right? And that's Brogdon again. I thought had a great start to his game, and obviously we had a hard time. We weren't nearly as good on Giannis tonight. He was in the paint with a little too much force, more than we'd like tonight.
Michael Lee with The Athletic. What are you hoping that a change of scenery can do based on just how this result came? You think you're fighting uphill and never could break through.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to hope that. We didn't play very well tonight, and we did play pretty well in game one. And they've done what they're supposed to do and protect their home court, and we've got to go now do the same and get ourselves back in the series. But it's got to be more of an effort like game one than tonight, because again we were just uphill for almost 3 quarters tonight.
Yeah, Nick, Doug Smith, the Toronto Star. Speaking of that start where you guys have always seemed to answer calls and respond with effort, were you surprised or mystified why it didn't seem to be there from the start tonight?
I'm always surprised, Doug, when you don't start the game a little bit better, right? Especially you know that they're at home and they're going to come out with an extra, pep in their step, and we talk about that a lot. Like, hey, we gotta really focus on getting our defense set up at the start, because it's going to be extra fast. They're going to be coming extra fast with the home court and the excitement and the energy that everybody has to start the game, and. We just didn't do a good enough job of getting ourselves set up, and we just again, I got to look at it, but again, what it felt like to me and what I was telling them in the timeouts is we got to press up more on the shooters, right? We were I don't know, I can think of one. We went zone one time and got a stop, and we came down the next time, and it was late in the clock, and Mirotic had one in the corner, and Mark went out and contested him. It was a good contest, but it wasn't a full out contest, and we know the level of contest is going to affect these shots or not, and if you don't go with everything you got and jump high and really try to let them know you're right pressed up against them, then the chances of them going in are pretty good. And I thought, not picking on Mark, I thought there was several around the court where we were kind of there, but it just wasn't enough. Right, and I was continually asking us to press up harder into bodies and make them bounce and do something else other than just shoot over a slightly contested 3.
Coach Sopan, Deb with the New York Times. I was wondering, in the third quarter, you guys cut it to 13 near the end. You guys had a little momentum there. Is there anything, especially particularly in that stretch run, is there anything that you saw tonight that you liked that you can take with you going into Game 3? Well,
yeah, I think. Again, going back to some keys to our series is we've got to continue to work, the offense for shots, right? And again, I sound like a broken record up here, but we had our share of wide open shots that could have, at least stymied a little bit of breakout in the score. But we got to make sure we continue to work for them. But listen, I thought again we just weren't quite physical enough, right? We weren't getting our screen set good enough. We weren't getting them off their screens good enough as well. And we're going to have to be better, or they're just going to look bigger than stronger than we are. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. We got to play a little tougher.
Bruce Arthur from the Toronto Star. Nick, Mark got a bunch of shots early. Danny got a bunch. Those are guys you kind of wanted to get going. Did that just happen, or was that a concerted effort to get them touches? And how difficult is it when those guys aren't going for you?
Well, it made it pretty difficult, right? And again, some of that's designed and some of it's happening. Again, the way they're playing, especially with Mark, they're sending Lopez to the paint or to the rim all the time. So Mark's going to have his share of opportunities just because that's that's the way the spacing lines up. And I don't know, geez, I feel bad for him. I mean, most of those went in and out. It's like he's a really good player. It's a really good scorer. He was taking good shots and he just couldn't buy one, right? So. And I even said it the first time out. I think he was about 1 for 5 or 6 at the first time out, and I said we got to get him let's go to him. Let's get him a bucket, and maybe we could kind of get him see one go in, and again they were good shots. But to answer your question, it makes it tough because we're taking what's there with guys that Danny's a great shooter and Mark's a scorer, and those are guys that we need to step in and play, and they will.
Eric named The Athletic. A week ago, Brad Stevenson sat in that seat and said, what makes playing the Bucks so hard is that every possession, both offense and defense, they make you work. I'm curious what you think of that assessment through 2 games and just how hard it can be if, you do cut it to 13 and they're still going to give it to you that next possession. Yeah,
it is difficult. And I think, you get that thing, we got that thing to 13, and I think we had a timeout even in our ball, and Kyle made a hard driving layup. I think that he thought he got knocked to the side and threw it off the side of the backboard, and then the next time down, Kawhi got in a little tussle. But again, if you're gonna not get a good shot or turn it over, they're gonna put some pressure on you, right? And that is I think they took it right to 19. I think it might have been 2 possessions of back-to-back threes or something, or maybe an and one or something. So. You did a lot of work to cut that thing in there, and it's kind of gone in a couple possessions. And I can, they do a good job of playing pace basketball and aggressive style of play, both ends.
Kate Burness, TSN. Coach, can you talk about Norm Powell's performance tonight? You get 25 solid minutes, 6 of 9 from the floor. It's something that we've really needed throughout the postseason that you saw tonight. Yeah, it was good. It was good to see Norm. I'd planned on using him a lot more in the rotation. I think he fits in this series a little bit more with his speed and strength and athleticism, his ability to take it off the bounce. We're going to need that. So it was good to get him going, and I would imagine going forward he'll be a critical part of the series for our rotation.